Hello and welcome to the Tarkis Zone. Thank you for joining me. Today we're going to be talking about the game Frozen Flame. I've done a few videos in the past. If you watch this video and you think you might enjoy this game, definitely check out my other videos within the playlist. You can go to my main channel, just look for Frozen Flame playlist. I've done some videos on this game up to this point. Today's video is not going to be really around gameplay. So if you're a gameplay watcher, or you'll watch videos on YouTube to check out the gameplay, that's what, look at my other videos that I've posted. This video is going to be primarily on the Steam page and looking at some reviews and looking at some stuff that is on the discussion page. Now, with that said, this is an early access game, and between people that I know, early access means something totally different to different people. I've done video game, I'm up there in age. So for 30 years, I for 20 years, I had a professional career as an information technologies manager for a multi-million-dollar company. And during that time, I did part-time work for a few gaming companies to help. I did Starfleet Command, Neverwinter Nights. I even was one of the early alpha testers for World of Warcraft. I spent many years, some people would say it as a hobby until I started getting paid for it. And I've been doing a lot of projects in VR lately. But with that said, because I've been around a while, really predating the internet, my thoughts used to be alpha, beta, game release. And I guess this is the point I was just trying to get to with all that background. Alpha, beta, release. Now games, don't really do the alpha, beta anymore. They call it early access. So basically, you're getting into the video game to really help them test it and flush it out. And back in the day, when you labeled it alpha beta, people in their minds knew, well, this is not a complete game. We're going to play it as it is and let the development team know what we found that's enjoyable. What are the bugs? Just let the player, the developers know what they had on their hands when you start introducing more people. Now, if you know anything about humanity, each person is unique. They think differently based on whatever their past is. All life experiences that you have bring you up to what you are today, and your life experiences are totally different than someone else's. So their level of knowledge, skill, whatever it might be, is going to be different than yours. So in early access, you hear from both sides of the gamut. Some people like me that is old school would have said, why isn't this game in alpha right now? Why isn't this game in beta right now? But no, they've put it in early access because they wanted, I don't know what, this is what today's is all about. I mean, this is how video game industry is doing. Even recently I've played Lost Ark. I played 300 hours of Lost Ark, over 800 hours of New World. But in New World, I worked with the developers with that game, and that game, it didn't matter what a lot of the testers that they listened to said, because they didn't really hear them, I don't think, because they didn't implement the things that made sense, and they would implement things that, whatever, that game's in the past. I'll probably never go back to it. It just rolled into something that was monstrous, that it just wasn't the game that they said it was going to be. It is something totally different now. But with that said, we're back to, let's talk about Frozen Flame. And let's talk about the reviews it received. Now, I'm not going to go individually into the reviews. I've read a few. People have valid complaints. They have valid complaints. But if this is why I wanted to point out the alpha beta release kind of triad that I used to believe in. If they released this as an alpha product, I don't think this game would have gotten all the bad reviews that it got. because most of the bad reviews that it got are around two concerns. The game doesn't have enough content to make it worth the asking price. And let's talk about the asking price real quick. In most cases, video games will release their product at a discount in early access just to get people enticed into it. Now, there have been early access games that I've played that had the full price tag, and when I've gotten into those games, I was quite happy that they were past alpha beta in my mind, that they were early access with 1 foot into full release. This game, Frozen Flame, is between alpha and beta. If you're listening to how I used to categorize these things, this game is between alpha and beta. It has nowhere close to being 1 foot into complete. Not even. It's got a. If I were to put this on a scale, you have a better chance to climb Mount Everest without an oxygen tank than to claim that this game is even near complete. Because this game is between alpha beta. That's just my professional opinion based on my years of experience. Now, again, we talked about other people's experience. They might think I'm just saying what I'm saying to get YouTube likes, whatever. I mean, you can take it for what it is. But I am saying that to ask full price for a video game and deliver what these developers have delivered is not the norm. I mean, I've played a lot of early access games, and I've paid for some of them. There are development companies that gave me some for free to play, to tell me what my honest opinion was about their game. And I mean, it is what it is. And what I'm thinking here is, if they had started with public servers on their own, they would have not gotten half the negative reviews that they got. That's just the reality to that, because the game is, the way it has been released is, it's designed to play a campaign mode, but people were really looking at playing the campaign mode with more than 4 friends. They wanted the campaign mode and bring in 20 friends. And to do that currently, you have to go rent a server and then have that server host it, and you can do it up to 24 players. So that rubbed people the wrong way. You're paying a full price for a video game. I think it was like 30. I think this game is like $30. Let me just scroll back up here. And I don't think it will tell me because, there it is. $29.99 is what this game is going for. So you paid $30 for a video game, and then the developer saying, by the way, if you want to play for with more than four people, you're going to have to spend an X amount of money renting a server to do that. Now, they were kind enough to refund. Initially, what happened was people bought the servers thinking that they were walking into a full-blown, flushed-out game, and then rented the server, then come to find out that there is, let's be conservative here, let's just say there's 12 hours of gameplay, where the campaign gives you 12 hours of gameplay. Just the campaign. We're not talking about the building aspect of the game. Let's say you just got on the game and you wanted to run casually through the game. 12 hours later, you would be at the end of what the game has to offer. And people rented servers thinking that it was more than that, but the game developers refunded those server prices for those people. And the other thing that happened, the other thing that was happening at the time that people mentioned that was a problem for them was the PvP seemed a little clunky, building damage. There was a mechanism in the game that allows you to destroy a structure, and I imagine you would think that ability to destroy a structure would be unique to you in the structure that you built. But anybody, if Tarkis builds a structure in the world and they go to their building interface under Q, go to the hammer, go to the red hammer, they could just delete my building. They don't even need to be friends with me. They could be Joe Smo idiot troll god that could walk up to my building currently in its state and delete my entire structure with no effort at all. And that's still true today. So some of the reviews were like, "Come on, guys, this is kind of ridiculous that you've got these game killing bugs going on in your game, and you haven't addressed them, and you haven't really heard anyone. You go to the discussions, and it seemed like anytime somebody mentions that, the post gets deleted, or for some reason I can't see it anymore, because I don't think the developers want you to know that. Guess what? Anyone can destroy your base by just going to the destruction tool and just wiping your entire base out. That seems crazy to me, but that was some legitimate griping people had with these reviews. And again, let's go back. It's early access. They're trying to flush this stuff out. So I think that's really the point I want to make about the reviews. Now, if you go to the reviews, it says positive 1,000 plus and then negative 500. So that's quite a bit of negative. I mean, and again, some of them are really valid negatives. They are really valid negatives. And then there's some people that have some really valid positives. But the thing about the valid positives is these, in most cases, it was like, hey, bozos, this is early access, and this is what the game's going to be. So their review is not based on, when I tell people, when you go into a game, put blinders on and play the game with blinders on and judge it for what it is, not what it's going to be. We can have high hopes that it's going to be a great game, but people that gave it thumbs up, a lot of people were like, oh yeah, it's garbage now, but it's going to be a great game, thumbs up. And it's like, okay, well, the reviews have really changed in my day then, because normally when I review a product, I review it of what it is and how it's delivering for me at that particular time. I mean, that's how I review it. And so that's it. That's my thoughts on the reviews. Let's go to the discussions real quick. Discussions, it's each video game has different type of people in the discussions. And in a game like this, I think you get a lot of people that are or build. They just want to build. They just want to play. With NPCs. I used to call. We used to call them everybody outside of PvPers, right? I mean, people that want to play a game for PvP or hardcore raiding, like World of Warcraft gives you a hardcore raiding campaign. There are people like that. And then you got people that just want to drink a beer, watch the game on another television, and build whatever they build in the world. And I guess over the years we called those people Care Bears. And it's not an insult to them. I'm a Care Bear. I don't mind being called the Care Bear because I'm not really into PvP. I'll do it, but I like building. I like doing crafting. I like doing the aspects outside of the PvP. I'm not a big campaigner, but I like games where you can work together, and this is one of those types of games. I really think when this game is fleshed out, we'll get to the point where you'll have a crew, crafting crew, you'll have PvP crew, you might have a resource gaining crew that goes out and gets your resources to bring back to the crafters. I can see that being what this game could be, and in my world, that's perfect because it gives me something to do, and I'm helping out those people that are enjoying the PvP part of the game. So let's look at the discussion board. I'm not going to get deep down into this board. I'm going to say that people have valid concerns. People have valid compliments too. So it's not like the devs did everything wrong here. Well, I would have changed a few things in their rollout, but it is what it is. You're paying $29.99 for a video game, and if you don't like it, refund it. Now, this is one valid gripe, huge gripe, that I got from people that I talked to, and you need to understand this. They got the game at the $30 price tag. Then they played the game for an hour and thought it was complete garbage and wanted a refund. They closed their game. The game was closed, and for whatever reason, they walked away, didn't address the refund. They had an hour into the game. They knew they could get the quick refund. They come back a few hours later, and they go to refund and they see that the game has logged them for 4.5 hours, and that, not realizing just having the Steam client on was tying the game up into as though it was being played. So they went to refund anyway, and they're like, no, you can't refund it. You played more than 2 hours. And they're like, no, I did not. I played for an hour and I closed the game down. I went to exit game. The game was closed down. It wasn't in the tray. Steam was still open, but it logged them as though they were in the game. So a lot of people that were in my close net that hated this game and wanted their money back are so angry that they can't get it because they wanted a valid refund, and for some reason that didn't happen. Now, that's, I don't know if that's still the case today, but if you're buying the game and you don't like it and you want to refund the game, just keep in mind that if right before the 2 hour mark, get your put your refund in. Now, you might buy the game later on. I've told these guys, well, you got the game now, you might as well utilize it. And they keep on laughing. Tarkis, that's the only reason why you're playing it, is because, when you spend $25 on something, because you want to play the crap out of it. And it's like, well, yeah, that's true about me, is if I pay money for a video game, I want to play it until I'm exhausted in playing it. I mean, $25 is not a lot of money for me, but I'm like I said, I'm old. So I remember where a dime was worth a lot, where a dollar bill was worth a lot. Nowadays, it's not. So it is what it is, but there's a lot of cases that I get a lot of video games for free because companies come to me and say, look, here's my game, give us your honest opinion. And so for me to go out and spend money on a game is very not like me. I don't spend a lot of money on video games. And so when I do play the crap out of them, and I look at video games in a different lens than other people do. I look at it at a lens from a person who has seen a lot of games, have seen behind the curtain, has gone in and actually looked at the code and seen the code, looking at all the modeling programs that are out there, and that you can model stuff. And these things didn't exist when I started way back when. I mean, when you played a video game like Pong, you're like, this is amazing. This is Pong, and then you think about it. Nowadays, you could probably write that script in an hour, but yet an entire generation of people played Pong, and that was their experience with video games. But nowadays, that's me. But nowadays, you've got other experiences because people expect a heck of a lot more than Pong, and that's the reality of like I was saying, is people have different experiences depending on where they actually started getting into the video game genre. All right. Well, I'm not going to take too much of your time. You can come to these forums yourself and read what you want. And I believe the devs do look at this, and they do chime in every once in a while, and that's a good thing. I know technically if you want to report something in the game, you want to go through the bug system, which is that, when you first get into the game, you'll see report a bug. It says something like that. And then you always could go to their Discord channel and put your information there too. I don't know where they have that here. I think what I did, my guess would be discussions, social media links here at the very top. Here you go. So this is a social media link. So if you want to try to chime in and let them know what you think, you could probably use any avenue here to do it. I don't know how quickly they'll get back to you, or if they'll ever get back to you. That's, it is what it is. I mean, if you've got a concern, and then you could also put your questions in here and ask people directly from the community and ask them what's going on, or whatever your question might be. Well, I want to appreciate your watching my videos. I know sometimes I can, go off on a on a little storyline, but that's how I am. I try to be neutral. I don't try to take, the developer side over the player base side. Overall, I've played a lot of this game. And let me see if it even tells you what my log is. I know it does. It's just that the question is where I don't usually look. Oh, there it is, right there next to the play now. It's what I got. I got 43 hours in the last 2 weeks, a total of 184 hours. So I've put some time in this game. I really have. All right. Well, thank you for joining me.